WACP, the place to be, for we are creative people. And we have live and direct on the line, Brother Mr. Dr. Theo. And where are you calling from?
Greetings. I'm calling from the Los Angeles area here in California. And greetings to you and your listeners.
Okay, I understand that we're going to hook up some information here on Juneteenth. Juneteenth, if a lot of you don't know about it, you can come to wacptv.ning.com, and we have a special section on Juneteenth. But right now, we want to discuss a little bit something about Juneteenth, which was a holiday, one of the first African-American holidays, dealing with freedom, emancipation. So-called slaves in Texas got the message on June the 19th. That was 1865. I think it was like about 2 years late, 2.5 years or so. And this lateness, this communications, this breakdown of communications left people thinking that they were still in slavery 2.5 years after somebody had said, Abraham Lincoln or somebody had said, hey, look, you guys are free. What do you think about this?
Well, that's really interesting that, we're coming up on Juneteenth, and what you just laid out. Here, a group of people were free for some 2 years without knowing they were free. So they were still behaving as slaves. And now I fast forward some, 200 plus years, and I look at a group of people, my people, African American people in America, and in a lot of sense, it's like those Texans. They're free, but yet they don't know how to act free, how to be free. They're still acting. They were acting as slaves, even though they were free.
Wow.
Well, I look at today's landscape, and I see that when we have black folks looking for white folks to do something for us and not take up the banner and be the builders of our own community, not be the Nehemiahs of today. When I think of the story of Nehemiah building the wall, well, that wall that was torn down for Nehemiah is the cities and the communities in this country for black people. Oh. And each one of those people stood and built their breach side by side. So that was a collaborative. It wasn't someone outside that did that. It was the people. And so I think about, the mentality then and the mentality that we have today, and it's very similar. So that's sort of interesting that this conversation we're having, and we're getting ready to celebrate the Juneteenth. And one of the things I want to share with you, Brother Hassan, and your listeners, a piece that I wrote as the editor for Urban Futures publication, and the Urban Futures Times, it's really appropriate for today. And so when we have a moment, I'd like to just sort of read that to your listeners and let them just kind of hear my thinking on the subject when I wrote this article some 5-6 years ago, and then just sort of updated it a few weeks ago.
Okay,
for today's time.
Well, let's put on the music, put the music on the background, and set the mood, and let's get into this.
This is being brought to you by Urban Futures Times, designing the flow without friction in zero time. Co-publisher Paul G. McDonald, Chief Research Officer. Title: Black History Month and Juneteenth. What If? By Philip A. Brown, editor, Urban Futures Publication. Updated May 5th, 2011. When I think about celebrating by black people during Black History Month, my spirit feels empty, a little sad. Our ancestors sacrificed so much for each preceding generation with the hope that one day there would be a prosperous nation of black people free from the shackles of slavery, the bondage of sharecropping, and the unjust laws of Jim Crow. And yes, from that man-made disease, racism. How they must have imagined that black people one day would pool their intelligence, talent, land, and money to build communities that support our culture, children, and families. I believe our ancestors thought of a time in the future when businesses and institutions owned by black people would blanket the landscape of our communities, creating jobs, knowledge institutions, inventions, houses, hotels, hospitals, banks, restaurants, stores, etc. The evolution of Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. Prosperity spreading across America before the bombing and total destruction by angry white mobs. What then would they see today that would be cause for celebrating? After the I Have a Dream speech and the subsequent murder of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968, what have black people accomplished? No, not individually, but as a nation of people that give rise to the next generation of black people. We have more freedom, education, money, and talent than any preceding generation. Yet Mother Nature, through the Hurricane Katrina, unveiled the precarious living conditions of urban black America. I too have a dream for black America. Imagine that Black History Month, February, was a time for planting seeds, investing in businesses, and Juneteenth was a time to celebrate the new harvest of these businesses, jobs, and institutions cooperatively funded and collectively owned by the community. Wealth creation, a legacy for the next generation to build upon. How, you may ask, could we do this? First, we would re-educate the black church community to an understanding that the tithes and gifts given on Sunday are on loan and are to be used in a manner that is consistent with the parable of the 5 talents. That is, the offerings raised would be leveraged and multiplied by investing back into the community in the form of the cooperative ownership in land, institutions, and businesses owned and operated by the members to support the needs of the giving congregants, the church, and community. Second, the congregants would assess their talents and expertise and collaborate them in support of these newly established businesses and institutions. After all, the congregants will own them collectively with the entrepreneur and receive dividends based on their patronage. This would give new meaning to the celebration of Kwanzaa, cooperative economics, through a cooperative plan of community building by investing our shared resources through a new support service system. As you can see, my dream has generational roots that bring forth rivers of truth, knowledge, hope, and faith from past lives planted in God's frozen yet fertile soil, waiting for future generations to unlock their promise. If we listen closely, we can hear their heartbeat within us, guiding us through our patch in the road we call life's journey. If only more recipients of our ancestors' sacrifice will stop and listen to the heartbeat, then act accordingly, our journey and the next generations will be viewed from a much higher place on the mountain we call prosperity, heaven here on earth. So what then shall we celebrate? Their sacrifice or our planting of seed in the journey? Relax. It's only a dream. Or is it?
Wow. Now you see why we call him Dr. Philip Brown. Yes, indeed. And we give thanks for that wonderful, beautiful message about Juneteenth and the vision that he has and the vision that we will incorporate here.
WACPtv, the place to be. For we are creative people. Stay tuned for the best, and the rest of your life.
We're going to take a couple of calls, and we're going to get right back with you with a closing statement.
Dr. King said, we as a people will make it to the promised land. But most people think that's some kind of hypothetical statement. But he was talking about real promised land. And that is where we are going. Back to our forefathers' land. That was our promise. And we were only promised to be here for 400 years. But we have been here for 449 years. So it's time now to go to the real promised land.
All right. Thanks for sharing.
A whole lot to say, except as many people that have the resources study the truth and do something true with those resources, because we're spending too much time on that bull.
You must respect time. That's very important. Do you listen to the news? Do you listen to the radio? Do you read the newspaper? Can't you see the handwriting on the wall? It's time for us to pull up out of here. We're supposed to leave with great substance. Don't you believe by now that it's time for us to get our great substance and get up out of here? That's what time it is.
So, Dr. Field, Brother Field, Philip Brown.
Yes.
Tell us.
Yes, sir.
What is your inspiration behind your writings, Juneteenth, and this whole opportunity that we have coming up on the 19th of June, which is also Father's Day this year?
Yes, that's going to be a great celebration. I think the two, Father's Day and Juneteenth. Well, my inspiration actually is generational. My grandfather, actually my great-grandfather, was an entrepreneur down in Pensacola, Florida. My grandfather was an entrepreneur all of his life. He's from Pensacola as well. My dad has been an entrepreneur all his life, still is. In fact, he's living in the Georgia area, and talked to him a couple weeks ago, and he has another business going, and he's soon to be 85. So my inspiration really comes from the entrepreneurial spirit of my family, and then understanding the need for entrepreneurship and businesses in our community collectively. The tool for doing good in a community is business. I mean, business, the resources that businesses create are used to do the good in businesses and communities. And so with that, for us as a people to look out over the landscape, to find opportunities to collaborate with, to begin to create wealth in the communities, that's my passion, and that's my God-given purpose, is to collaborate from an entrepreneurial standpoint with other like-minded people to bring forth positive change in community. And what better place to start than right here in our backyard? Like Booker T. Washington said, if we just cast our buckets where we are, and see, if we take that term that he used back in the 1800s when he made that statement, and we look at it and we modernize that statement, what is he saying to us today? I think what Booker T. Washington is saying to us today is, cast your buckets where you are means y'all are educated in so many different ways. You have business sense, you have finance sense, you have management sense, you have marketing sense, you have account. That's your bucket. Cast your bucket together collectively in your community, and you will build banks. You will build institutions. You will build schools. You will build railroad. You will build every system that's necessary, not for your survival, but for your prosperity and generations to come. So on Juneteenth, 2011, we're going to demonstrate via virtually on WACPtv what it looks like when 200 companies come together in a collaboration under one roof the power of us casting our buckets where we are, our various talents.
All right. All right. There you have it, live and direct. And look forward to Juneteenth, June the 19th, 2011, live and direct, as we simulcast around the world right here at WACPtv, livinginblack.ning.com, and several other networks throughout the country and throughout the world. Stay tuned for the best and the rest of your life.
WACP, the place to be. For we are creative people.